You were also on video outside the White House protesting with a group called CASA, where Antifa members were. Senator, are you familiar with the one that threw a sandwich at an ICE officer? Are you a Homeland Security officer? Are you familiar with the one who went out on her lunch break and was making ops? The double standard is crystal clear, Senator Hirono, crystal clear. Because you didn't complain for 4 years when President Trump was being targeted by Jack Smith.
Welcome back. We have seen some heated Senate hearings before, but what you are about to see between Senator Mazie Hirono and Attorney General Pam Bondi is on another level. Hirono came prepared with a list of accusations about corruption and bribery, but Bondi didn't just defend herself. She went on a full-scale counteroffensive. She literally accused a sitting U.S. senator of protesting with Antifa. The gloves didn't just come off, they were thrown across the room. Let's break down this absolute showdown.
Senators, Section 702 is a vital source of foreign intelligence and instrumental in keeping Americans safe. We also take individuals' rights of their individual rights of all Americans very seriously. And many statutory reforms to FISA have incorporate safeguards. They have to incorporate safeguards to protect our civil liberties. The Department of Justice looks forward to working with you to discuss anything regarding 702. I believe my staff, and Senator, I also want to thank you for this hearing. Your staff met with my staff, and I greatly appreciate that.
Thank you. We're going to be working on 702, so I appreciate the openness to further amending 702. At your confirmation hearing, you assured me that it is the Department of Justice's decision to determine what cases will be prosecuted. Last month, the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia was forced out. President Trump then posted the message behind me asking about prosecuting James Comey. You then appointed a new U.S. attorney who, within days, secured an indictment against James Comey. That social media post behind me saying, "What about Comey?" was directed to Pam. Are you the Pam that the president was referring to?
I'm sure I was.
So it's very clear to me that when the president posts something like that, that he considers the DOJ to be his law firm and you his lawyer. And in fact, very shortly after the post to you, Comey gets indicted.
So Hirono is trying to establish a direct link here. She wants Bondi to admit she takes orders from tweets. But notice Bondi's reaction. She doesn't flinch. She says, "I'm sure I was," the Pam referred to. She isn't hiding her loyalty to the president, which frustrates Hirono because she's trying to catch Bondi in a lie. But Bondi is openly owning the relationship.
Ms. Bondi, did you approve closing the Homan investigation, bribery investigation?
Senator Hirono, as I stated earlier, the Department of Justice and the FBI conducted a thorough review, and they found no credible evidence of any wrongdoing. You were also on video outside the White House protesting with a group called CASA, where Antifa members were. Does that mean you're a member of Antifa?
You know, I simply asked the question as to whether or not you approve the shutting down of the investigation, Mr. Homan. I have to assume that you did because the FBI reports to you. But the American people would look at the situation where this person is taking a $50,000 in cash.
This is a masterclass in deflection. Hirono asks a serious question about a $50,000 bribery allegation. Bondi answers it in 10 seconds and then drops a bomb. Are you a member of Antifa? It completely derails the questioning. Hirono is forced to sit there stunned while Bondi flips the moral script. It's a tactic called aggressive pivoting. Don't just answer the question, attack the questioner.
Next question. Over 1,200 rioters were convicted of charges related to January 6th. President Trump has since pardoned nearly all of them. As if that weren't enough, last month there were reports that a lawyer for the January 6th rioters met with senior DOJ officials about setting up a compensation fund like the one that Congress set up after 9/11 to compensate these rioters. Ms. Bondi, is anyone at DOJ considering setting up a compensation fund for January 6th rioters? Yes or no?
Senator, I have had no meetings or discussions about a fund.
So would you support such a fund? Would you okay such a fund?
Senator, you can send me the information on the fund, and I'd be happy to look at it.
No, but do you think that's a good idea to, this is what I'm getting at. Because to actually set up a fund and to have people talking with your senior people at DOJ, political people, about creating a fund, and you won't let us know what you think about that, that's pretty unbelievable.
You can see Hirono fishing for a soundbite here. She wants Bondi to say, yes, we want to pay rioters, or no, the president is wrong. Bondi refuses to step into the trap. She gives the classic lawyer answer, I haven't had meetings about it. It drives Hirono crazy because she can't get the viral clip she wants. So she has to resort to saying, that's unbelievable.
Next question. You have fired dozens of career prosecutors because they worked on cases involving President Trump or January 6th rioters. For example, one career federal prosecutor who secured over 100 convictions in Florida. He also spent time in D.C. prosecuting January 6 cases. He received an outstanding review only 2 days before you signed a memo firing him. The memo cited no reason for his firing. Are you firing career prosecutors solely because they worked on cases like January 6th that the president doesn't like?
Senator Hirono, I am not going
Yes
to talk
or no?
about personnel matters with you.
Well, we all know that hundreds of career prosecutors have left the DOJ, and literally hundreds, we're told. And
Yeah,
you know,
Senator,
you've
are you
lost- the
familiar with the one
DOJ
that threw a
has
sandwich
lost-
at an ICE officer? Are you a Homeland Security officer?
is the
Are you familiar
reason-
with the one who went out on her lunch break and was
Ms. Bondi,
making obscene
Would
gestures?
you say that DOJ losing these career prosecutors and the thousands of hours of experience they have prosecuting criminals, that is not a reassuring situation?
Senator, many employees took the fork in the road and resigned. DOJ is hiring committed prosecutors who will actually come into the office and work, and not work remotely,
I
and
think we all
prosecute
know
violent
that-
criminals around the country and terrorists. And
This
I
is
am
the danger of asking open-ended questions to a skilled prosecutor. Hirono paints a picture of innocent, hardworking lawyers being fired. Bondi destroys that narrative with specific, embarrassing details, throwing sandwiches, making obscene gestures. Suddenly, the purge sounds less like political revenge and more like HR cleaning house. Hirono tries to cut her off because she knows she's losing the argument.
Your continuous interruptions, in my opinion. Mr. Chairman, I just want to close by saying that what was once the Department of Justice has become the Department of Revenge and Corruption. Rather than pursuing cases without fear or favor, this DOJ seeks to favor the president's friends and instill fear in his alleged enemies. If you're a friend of the president, this corrupt DOJ will bend over backwards to help you, just like it dropped the bribery investigation of Tom Homan, like it's considering paying money to January 6 rioters, and like it has put antitrust enforcement decisions in the hands of well-connected lobbyists. But if you're on the wrong side of this president, you will face the wrath of DOJ, no matter what the facts, law, or justice support. James Comey is indicted days after the president's social media directive. Experienced career prosecutors are fired just because they were assigned to work on January 6 cases. Blue states are sued to get highly sensitive private voter data, whereas red states are left alone. The double standard is clear, and the American people are waking up to the corruption and favoritism and the lawlessness at the DOJ. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
May I respond, Chairman?
Hirono tried to do the classic mic drop, where she reads a prepared statement and ends the hearing so the witness can't respond. Bondi wasn't having it. She forced the chairman to let her speak. And look at that closing line. The double standard is crystal clear. She turns Hirono's revenge narrative into a mandate narrative. She effectively tells the Senate, we won, you lost, get over it.
Yes.
May I respond?
Yes, you may respond. Then Senator Kennedy.
Thank you. The double standard is crystal clear, Senator Hirono, crystal clear, because you didn't complain for 4 years when President Trump was being targeted by Jack Smith, by the last Justice Department, But the American people spoke loud and clear when they overwhelmingly elected him. The two-tier system of justice is over.
Talk about a clash of styles. What we just saw was the difference between a legislator and a litigator. Senator Hirono came in with a prepared script. She had her narrative set. The DOJ is corrupt. It's the Department of Revenge, and Trump is pulling the strings. She stuck to that script no matter what Bondi said. But Pam Bondi came in as a street fighter. She didn't just sit there and take the lecture. When Hirono brought up bribery, Bondi brought up Antifa. When Hirono brought up firing prosecutors, Bondi brought up sandwich-throwing employees. She met every single accusation with a counterpunch that made the senator look hypocritical. The most fascinating part of this dynamic is how unapologetic Bondi is. In previous administrations, attorneys general would bend over backwards to appear neutral and non-political. Bondi is doing the opposite. She is leaning into the mandate. She is basically telling the Democrats, yes, we are changing things. Yes, we are firing people. And we have the voters' permission to do it. It leaves us with a very divided view of the Justice Department. To Hirono, this is the end of the rule of law. To Bondi, this is the restoration of fairness after years of targeting Trump. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. It's going to be a hot debate down there, so keep it civil. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.